back to Gabbing with Jessa. Today I am going to give my review on the new movie from Blumhouse and Universal, and that is M3GAN. With this review, I'm going to talk about the movie, what I liked, what I didn't like, an actual review of the movie, and then I want to kind of break it up into a spoiler section, but more so focusing on the themes of M3GAN, what I think it was trying to say, if I thought it did it well, and just other fun kind of spoiler-like things. So the first part of this video is going to be spoiler-free, but then when I get to the themes, it's going to be filled with spoilers, and I'll make sure that I let you guys know when that's happening and in the description down below. So what is M3GAN? So M3GAN is I would definitely call it a present-day kind of Chucky movie. It's very much inspired by movies of creepy dolls from the past and bringing it into the 21st century. After a horrible car accident when Katie loses both of her parents, she is forced to stay with her aunt, who is a toy maker named Gemma. And Gemma is really pushing to get this doll M3GAN made, and throughout the movie you see M3GAN and Katie bonding with each other to become inseparable from one another. She is very reliant on this toy, and M3GAN is very reliant on her and wanting to protect her. Of course, with that protection comes craziness, all the different horror things. Whenever M3GAN thinks that Katie is being harmed in any way, then she is going to react to it. And it's just a basic story like that. I just thought it was really interesting coming from a perspective of the mom actually making the toy. There's not really a spirit or anything, which I'm pretty sure like the Child's Play movies kind of had more of a ghostly element to it. This is definitely more, alright, we made this because we wanted to see what it could do to help me. And the reason why Gemma made it for Katie as well, to pair with Katie, goes along with some of the themes that I'll talk about later, but it's definitely made for Katie, for herself, and that is the main goal of this. They want to create this toy that is able to do so many different things that basically a human can do. I really like at the beginning of the movie, they started it with like toy ads where you definitely would think if you were watching this on TV that it was just another commercial, and I thought that was a really fun way to draw into the story about how toys influence young ones and the commercials that go along with that, and how toys nowadays are much different than what we had 10-20 years ago. I think that the story was very simple. I think that it was a lot of fun. I thought it was funny. If you are not a fan of creepy horror kind of stuff or like body horror kind of things with like slashers, you don't have to worry about that. I think it definitely leans more on like the dark comedy side rather than a horror side. So if you're not really into super graphic horror, you don't really need to worry about that for this movie. It is rated PG-13. And I think that if you've liked movies like Chucky before or Child's Play before, I think that you'll definitely have a fun time with this. While I think the story was very simple and the script was very simple, and it did feel like a simple movie, I think that was leaning more towards the direction of the film rather than the script of the film, because I think that the story was there and it was enjoyable, it was funny, like I was laughing out loud like in the audience as I was watching this movie. So I think that it felt very simple, not because of the story, but because of the direction, because I think they played it very safe. I think that even though it is a basic, simple idea that's kind of been done before, that they could have put a little more spin on it. I'm not really sure, but it just didn't, it just felt very simple. And while I enjoyed that, I know that some people might be going into this expecting more because of how much they've put into the marketing. The marketing has definitely been a key for movies like this, movies like Smile, and so I've loved being able to see new and emerging horror stories do this guerrilla type marketing. You might remember with the Smile campaign, they hired people to go to basketball games and baseball games and do the creepy smile that everyone does in the movie, wearing t-shirts that said Smile in the font, just like everything, basically promoting the movie. Whereas here for the M3GAN movie, they had so many different girls dress up as the M3GAN doll and then travel around like New York City. I think they were at like a football game in LA, either the Chargers or the Rams, and I just think that's such a fun idea because it gets people talking why are these girls here? Why are they doing this creepy dance? Oh, they're associated with this movie M3GAN. Let me go see what that's about. And so I think it's been really fun to see more marketing campaigns like this, and I definitely think movies need to take more advantage of things like Smile and M3GAN. Other than that, I don't really see too much to talk about with the review. Like I said, I thought the story was really simple, but I think it could have gone a longer way. But now I want to kind of jump into the themes of M3GAN, which will also play into more of the story aspects of it. And this could contain spoilers, so I'll just say spoiler warning right now just to be safe. And so if you want to know my final rating, you can skip to the timestamp at the very end where I will give my final rating of it. But if you want to hear my take on what I think some of the themes were, and if I thought that they displayed them well, then here we go. So one of the main themes, obviously, I think that plays into this movie is our reliance on technology. Technology nowadays has grown so much. Even within the last 5 years, we've gotten so much greater technology. Our phones can essentially just be everything, ranging from our wallets to our keys to so many different things with different apps and different programming and so many things that we can do. Everything is just located just right here on this device. A lot of people also have smart homes where they tell Alexa or Siri or whoever to, tell them the weather for the day, or to turn on their lights, or to turn on their surround sound, or give them their email notifications. There's so many different things that technology can do, and I think that we as a society are becoming more and more reliant on it. And just because we can use something doesn't mean that we should. And Gemma in this movie is a very kind of stereotypical working woman. She doesn't have a boyfriend, isn't married, doesn't have a partner of any sort, is just focused on her work, focused on her career. That's her main goal. So when she is now becoming a parent, essentially because her sister, who died in the car accident, that was Katie's mother, is now she has full custody of Katie until some kind of arrangement is made. Now Gemma is thrown into this role that she was not prepared for, that she maybe didn't even want down the line. And as someone who is very career focused, very heavy on that, she's never really had to think of anyone else besides herself before, which is totally fine if that's the kind of person you are. But now she is given this extra piece in her life that she's never really had to think about before. So even though she is working with the idea of M3GAN before the accident with Katie happened, before she became Katie's guardian, she was still trying to come up with a new toy that was different from what we saw before, that really wanted to become the next big thing. And then after getting stuck with Katie, or at least that's how she feels at the beginning of the movie, then she realizes, oh, okay, I can make this doll that I was working on, my original M3GAN idea, I can make it so in a way it is a substitute parent. And one of her coworkers on the experiment, I believe her name is Tess, she actually mentions that it's you're creating a replacement for adults. And while Gemma doesn't really see it that way, she sees, reading Katie a bedtime story, or tucking her in, or doing all of these things, reminding her to flush the toilet or whatever. Gemma sees those as bad things, as new things that she has to keep reminding herself to do, that she has extra work around the house, but she doesn't see it as, I'm using M3GAN to be a replacement parent. It's just helping me out. It's helping parents out. And so that's how she sees it, as someone helping parents who are already struggling, or who have a lot on their plate, or maybe single parents too, who don't have the time and effort to put in 110% to their child, and maybe they feel bad, so now they'll want to get this M3GAN doll to help out with all of those extra things. And M3GAN is not just a reliable doll that can remind you to, flush the toilet, or remind you to wash your hands, some of the very simple stuff that she reminds Katie to do, but she's also very smart. She's very intelligent. She tells Katie a lot of information about the world around her, about science and history and so many different things, where Katie at one point, when Gemma wants to send her back to regular school, wants to send her back to public school, or send her to public school for the first time because her mother had always homeschooled her, Katie refuses and says, no, I'm learning a lot more from M3GAN. I don't want to go to public school. I'm learning so much from M3GAN because she's an internet base. She has so much information, And what I really liked about this, maybe noticing it as a teacher myself, that every time M3GAN gave her information, it was based on something that she was currently doing in her life, whatever that may be. It was relating her to the real world, which is what I always try to do with my kids, and relate everything to the real world. So then Katie also becomes reliant on that technology. She wants M3GAN there to be her teacher, and in some ways, it's working for her because she is learning a lot and at a quicker pace. Another big theme that I think this movie showed was being emotional over analytical, because that was the main driving point that Gemma wanted to pursue for this doll to keep going after and to present to potential investors. Oh, this doll will learn with the child. Once they are paired together, they are going to learn what they like, what they don't like, and grow from that and be able to be an emotional support doll you can think of. Because it's not just normal generated responses like we have with a lot of kids' toys nowadays, where it's just like, yeah, I'm a superhero, or whatever they normally say. It's actually taking into account how she is feeling, what she is saying, and M3GAN is able to give an emotional reaction back to that. And one of the most emotional parts of the movie is when Katie's very sad because she's like, I don't know if I'll remember my parents anymore. And M3GAN goes, oh, tell me something about your mom that made you laugh or like made you smile. And then so Katie tells a story, and then M3GAN is like, don't worry, whenever you need that memory, I have it stored right here. And she like touches, like M3GAN touches M3GAN's heart, and the recording of what Katie just said about her mom plays back to her. And so that really helps Katie in a time when she's going through so much trauma. And sometimes we need that more emotional over that analytical, and I think Gemma originally wanted to rely on that for everything with what Katie was going through instead of dealing with it herself. But then Gemma comes to realize, no, I also need to be there and emotionally support Katie as well. This is my niece. She is now the legal guardian of her, so I need to make sure that she feels emotionally safe as well. I also think this movie mentioned attachment theory, because there's a therapist that comes, making sure that Gemma and Katie are a good match, that Katie doesn't have to go to her grandparents' house in Florida. And so the therapist mentions at one point, oh, like, Katie is getting way too attached to this doll, and mentions attachment theory and how kids, when they go through something traumatic, will attach on to the next person that comes into their life. And the therapist mentions, it should have been you, it should have been Gemma, but because M3GAN is so lifelike and so realistic that she attaches onto her as if she is the next person, her emotional support person, because she's been spending so much time with her, because Gemma has been pushing that, so she has something better to show her bosses or the investors at the next pitch meeting. And I also think it has a good commentary on child growth as well, where if they keep relying on one thing, they're never going to want to grow or change or become a different person. They're always going to be stuck with not only that trauma, but also just in their emotional state as a child. And I think M3GAN was also there to kind of show how when you become attached or rely on something and you don't want to grow, because anytime Katie was separated from M3GAN, she threw fits, she was mad, she just did not want anything to do with Gemma, she just wanted M3GAN. And so this could have been, if we'd seen this play out over like a year or so, then we could have really gotten deeper and seen maybe Katie may not emotionally be where she's supposed to. M3GAN may be teaching her all of these great things, bringing her at a higher grade level than she's at, but emotionally she just may be stunted. And so I think that would be a really good point maybe to look into as well. And I think they also wanted to make that kind of commentary on children staying where they are emotionally and not growing past that, not wanting to, refusing to, whether that be because of a trauma that they have faced or something else along the way. So those are some of my takes, my ideas on some of the themes that I thought that M3GAN showed in the movie. I think that this is a really fun movie. I think that if you are bored on a Tuesday, on a $5 Tuesday, definitely hit up your local theater. I think that it is a great time. On my Pokemon rating scale, I am going to give this a love disc. I think that it is a perfectly fun movie. There's something there for everyone. even though it may not be extreme horror or it may not be super child friendly. I don't know. I think it is a perfect combination of the both. I think that you will definitely have a good time. You will find something to like from this movie. But let me know down in the comments below, did you see M3GAN? What did you think of M3GAN? Let me know all of that and more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, keep on gabbing.